We'll talk a little bit more about this select team that's facing the national team, the Olympic team, and Cooper Flagg is 17 years of age. He has been invited to play against the Olympic team. So he's 17. He's going to Duke. He's out of Maine, but he's been playing down at IMG Academy in Florida for the last couple of years. He is going to be the number one player drafted next year. They're already talking about the Wizards select Cooper Flagg. And if you watch the highlights, he is a very advanced 17-year-old. We interviewed him a couple of months ago. He's very confident and doesn't seem like he's fazed by any of this. Hey, there's LeBron, and hey, I'm going to shoot a 3 over Anthony Davis. This is where the NBA misses out. Because they imagine Cooper Flagg going into the NBA. He would have been the number one pick this year. Imagine him going into the NBA now. Now, he's going to go to Duke, so he'll be on national TV. But he's going to be the player face. You have Danny Hurley as the coaching face, and you're going to have Cooper Flagg as the player face of college basketball this upcoming season. And by all accounts, he is worthy of this, legitimate, going against these guys. And he had a day yesterday. But part of the reason why there's a little bit more magic to it is, now we can factor in that he is 6'11" white guy out of Maine who's playing in Florida who's going to Duke. So those are novelties. Not the white guy going to Duke, but he's 6'11" white guy and he's the number one high school player in America. And he's playing against LeBron and AD and all these other great players. Maybe the greatest Olympic team we've ever had, and he's out there playing and more than holding his own. And he's going to go to Duke. But imagine if he could go to the NBA now. And then draft night would have been a whole lot more interesting than let's wait until the second night to see where Bronny goes. But Cooper Flagg would have been the number one player selected in this year's draft. Yes, Marvin.
But this helps because there's a Wembanyama feel to next year's NBA draft. Because now who's going to get Cooper Flagg because he's going to be the number one pick? And this helps college basketball because you have a guy that's coming in right away and there's automatic star power. And there's somebody you got to watch in November.
Yeah, there's a Zion feel to him. But the fact that you couldn't watch this game yesterday, this scrimmage, that it was a social media phenomenon. So Marv goes, hey, your boy's tearing it up. And I go, who? He goes, Flagg. And I go, oh. I said, where can I watch it? He said, I'm streaming. What were you streaming the fourth quarter?
It was on YouTube and it was on somebody's IG Live.
Okay.
You got to be real pathetic, and that's what I was yesterday.
Is that a violation, though?
Probably, yeah.
Did you? Okay. All right. So Marv's watching, and he said, he's killing it here. And then all of a sudden, I saw the highlights, and he had himself a day. Now, I don't know how he was the entire game. I just know that he had 4 moments where you go, all right, damn. All right, shooting a 3. All right, a dunk there. Okay. Going coast to coast. And that's how these things happen. It's like Paul Skeens with the Pirates. Like, you can't script that. You can't go, that guy's going to be a star. He had the elements there. LSU, national championship, going to Omaha, mustache, throwing 100, dating, a beautiful, gymnast there at LSU. Like, he had it, everything's there, going to the Pirates, number one pick. You don't stay in the minors very long. So Cooper Flagg is going to basketball's minors here for a year, and then he'll be in the NBA the following year. So you have these moments where, these things are created. You can try to hype somebody, try to create. It's like when LeBron was 16 playing in Chicago and he was tearing up NBA veterans. And all of a sudden word gets out, the kid from Akron is tearing everybody up. So now all of a sudden the hype builds. Now Cooper Flagg is not asking for this, but he can be the benefactor, but he can also be the recipient of a lot of people saying, wait, this guy's supposed to be good? Because he's going to have those moments where you go, another overhyped guy from Duke. Another guy who is really good in college and not going to be really good in the pros. It's probably going to happen this year. But he is, by all accounts, legit. And, we have some people who were there watching the scrimmage yesterday, so we'll talk to them a little bit later on. The elements to becoming a breakout star, it's interesting how, you aggregate a story. So people will pick up a story, websites pick up a story, depending on how many people are clicking on that story. It's not news judgment. they're looking to get clicks. So all of a sudden, 17-year-old kid dominates against the Olympic team. There's video of him, 6'11" white guy who's from Maine. He is from Maine, but he plays in Florida for one of the best high school teams in America. But 6'11" white guy from Maine is dominating the Olympians. Everybody starts clicking on this. That's how you create something, a breakout star. Because a lot of people, this is in Europe. The Daily Mail, Associated Press, the New York Times, they're all picking up this story. But they're picking up this story because you're picking up this story. You're reading this story. You're curious about this. That's all this is. That's what news is now. It's give me the most popular stories, not the most important stories, the most popular stories. That's why Bronny James was such a big deal, because it's Bronny James and LeBron James. Now you have LeBron James going against Cooper Flagg and the Olympians. Now you can incorporate everything there. And that's how this happened yesterday. It was, can't watch it. You can see clips, and then you can judge for yourself. But hitting jumpers, going against Anthony Davis, I guess holding his own by all accounts, and the fact that he's 17, he's going to Duke. I wonder what his NIL is now after something like this. And I don't know, if his parents have money. I don't know how important that is. I don't know what he's getting at Duke with NIL. But with something like this, because Zion Williamson wasn't getting NIL, he might have been getting something else when he went to Duke. But here's Cooper Flagg, who will be the number one player in college basketball. Does his price go up? Does he get compensated in accordance to being this popular? Or does he say, look, I'm going to Duke. I'll make my money when I go to the NBA. Imagine if you're 17 and you were able to go to the NBA. So let's say you do your rookie deal. The number of contracts that Cooper Flagg, let's say he is a legitimate star. So how many contracts is he going to have in his NBA lifetime? So if he's 17 and he was going into the NBA now, so now he would have 3 years, and then he would get a crazy amount of money. And then 5 years from now or 4 years from now, a crazier amount of money. And then 4 or 5 years from now, a crazier amount of money. You're looking at these guys now at a $500 million a year, or in their career. $500 million at least. With just the money you're going to make from the NBA. And that's not far-fetched, because I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I had an agent say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in a couple of years will be the highest paid player in the NBA, making $81 million a year. So the timing of your contract and his age, he's going to make $81 million a year. So it's not far-fetched to get to $100 million in the next 10 years, it feels like, for a player. $100 million. You play 5 years, got $500 million. That's crazy. I don't know how it's sustainable, but it's like I don't even blink when I see these contracts for NBA players anymore. Oh, can I play Paul George? Paul George, Playoff P, Podcast P, was talking about his negotiations with the Clippers. And when you don't say the word million or millions, that it's just 30. Oh, no, 40. 5 for 150.